All right, people. So, our first review of the day is going to be for the film Young Frankenstein, or should I say Fronkensteen, as he likes to be called there. This is a 1974 film here, directed by Mel Brooks, the legend himself there. Mel Brooks, who's known for doing such amazing kind of spoof movies there, such things as Spaceballs, Blazing Saddles there, History of the World Part 1. And in this movie here, he's tackling Frankenstein, the lore there of this. And here you have Gene Wilder, who's playing the grandson of Victor Frankenstein there, the mad scientist there who reanimated corpses to create his monster, Frankenstein's monster there. And then Gene Wilder in this, like I say, he's playing young Frankenstein, the grandson, Victor Frankenstein, and he travels back to Transylvania to prove that his grandfather was crazy, to prove that he was insane there. But he ends up, while he's at Transylvania, having his own experiment there. And so that's kind of the situation you have with this film. And comedy ensues, as they say. And in this movie, if you've are a person who's familiar with Mel Brooks movies, you'll see a lot of frequent collaborators like Gene Wilder's in this. Um, You'll see there. You also see Madeline Kahn is in this as well, who was also in something like Blazing Saddles. So you see some frequent actors he's worked with before. But this was it, directed by Mel Brooks, written by Mel Brooks, also written by Gene Wilder and Mary Shelley there as well, who is the original author of Frankenstein there, all the way back there. Who Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein, I believe, when she was 19, 18 years old.
Yeah, she was extremely young when she wrote it, and it's one of the first technical sci-fi novels ever written. So it's quite an impressive feat on her end.
Yeah. So, Neil, what are your thoughts on Young Frankenstein there?
So Young Frankenstein, sorry, is widely regarded as a comedy classic, and seeing it again recently, it's very easy to tell why, because this is a borderline perfect comedy movie. It's one of the first examples of a spoof movie that you would later on go to see movies like Airplane or The Naked Gun and things of that nature. And it's still to this day one of the best examples. And it just is a very meticulously crafted movie. It's not just a bunch of random jokes just strung together willy-nilly. There's a craft to this movie, and it really shows just how much thought and effort was put into this, because the comedy here is just incredible from start to finish.
Mm. And they really try to capture the look of these old school monster movies. I mean, this movie's in black and white, as you see there. So they really try to do that as well with it. And it has very classic Frankenstein characters there. Igor is in this there, which is a very much carryover from many, many of the Frankenstein adaptations that you'll see. Which is nice there. You have Gene Wilder leading this, which at the time, Gene Wilder was heavily iconic actor from being in such things. Willy Wonka was also, he was in 1971. Like I mentioned, Blazing Saddles before, he was also in that. But yeah, I mean, he was on a great streak there as well there. I mean, he was also in Producers, which was in 1967.
Right.
So yeah, really just doing such amazing stretch of work in that period of time. And it kind of is, like I said, the spoof movie, kind of parody of the Frankenstein lore there that we all know. And we did this review because at the time we got two Frankenstein movies that are going to be coming out, the one from Guillermo del Toro and the one from Maggie Gyllenhaal there called The Bride. And there was even one a couple years ago, Yorgos Lanthimos, who did Poor Things, which is basically kind of like a Frankenstein type movie there with
Right.
that. Um, but it's a movie that you really have to watch. I think Young Frankenstein. This is my first time watching it, but I think I really wanted to watch it again, not only because how good it was, because I think there's so many things in this that you have to like catch again to really get the full context of the jokes there. And there's probably always, in great comedies, little things in the background, and things that you didn't catch from actors saying or doing that really reward you from multiple viewings of it. What do you think about
There,
that?
Yeah, there's a lot of really great joke crafting, a lot of really clever wordplay, and just subtle jokes throughout the entire movie. And what really impressed me watching this is just how detailed everything is. Everything from the way the movie is shot to the way the scenes kind of play out is very much in the style of the 1930s and 40s Universal horror pictures. In terms of like how the how the characters act with each other and how like the scenes will play out. And that's really, it's that attention to detail that makes the movie work so well, because the jokes in this movie are not just specifically Frankenstein jokes. They're wordplay jokes. They're situational comedy jokes. They're character jokes that just happen to revolve around this crazy scenario that the characters are in. And it's that combination of the really just finely tuned joke writing, character writing, and the craftsmanship of the stuff that they are spoofing that makes this just work so well. I was very impressed by all of that.
Yeah. I think that's shown here in the scene where he's talking to Igor there, but here he says Igor instead there. And I'll play this.
Yeah.
Fronkensteen.
You're putting me on.
No, it's pronounced Frankenstein.
Do you also say Froderick?
No, Frederick.
Well, why isn't it Froderick Fronkensteen?
It isn't. It's Frederick Frankenstein.
I see.
You must be Igor.
No, it's pronounced Igor.
But they told me it was Igor.
Well, they were wrong then, weren't they?
Of course. I'm sure we'll get along splendidly. Oh, sorry. I don't mean to embarrass you, but I'm a rather brilliant surgeon. Perhaps I could help you with that hump.
What hump?
So there's scenes like that. I mean, the wordplay of it is really good, and also the comedic timing of it is, I think, also excellent there as well.
Igor is the best character in this whole movie to me, at least, because
And
he's so over Victor and all of his nonsense the entire time.
And it's played by Marty Feldman in it, and I mean, he kind of has. I mean, he just seems like a guy kind of born to play Igor a little bit there. Just given his look. I mean, this is the actor in real life there, so I mean, yeah, you just got to kind of got to look for it, you know. Kind of yeah, role he was born to play there.
Boy, no makeup needed for him, I guess.
Yeah, and he was also in some other Mel Brooks movies as well there, and he's been in plenty of other comedies too. Mighty Python was also one of the other things he was in. So yeah, you have that, and then you also have the she was the maid there, or yes, of the manor that he was kind of taking over there for his grandfather as well in there, and her name was let me make sure I got it, Frau there as well, who's played by Cloris Leachman, who people might know. Cloris Leachman there, she passed away well, but people might know her. She's been in things like she was in Spanglish before as well. She's also been in, I think she was also in Bad Santa, as if I remember correctly. She was in that movie.
Yeah, she was in Bad Santa and tons and tons of other comedies for sure.
Yeah. What did you think about her character there?
Oh, she's great. She's there's a little bit more to her character that you find out later on, but there's so many just great jokes with her. Like the fact that every time they say her name, lightning strikes and the horses freak out. That's one of the best jokes in the movie, and it's just she plays insanity really well, because you figure out like what her motive in the whole thing is, and when she explains, it's so stupid and so silly that you love it and you love it, and you love Cloris in this for sure.
Ah, yeah. I think that's shown in this scene right here, where she's playing the violin, which is really great there.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
All the time. Yes. You played that music in the middle of the night. Yes. To get us into the laboratory. Yes. That was your cigar smoldering in the ashtray. Yes. And it was you who left my grandfather's book out for me to find. Yes. So that I would. Yes. Then you and Victor were. Yes. Yes. Say it. He was my
I mean, like everybody in this movie, really over the top, really dramatic, and a lot of their performance there, which really adds to it. Like you said, the whole universal monster kind of movie that you have. How many Frankenstein movies do you think you've seen? There are adaptations of Frankenstein.
Okay. All right. If we're counting Poor Things, I've seen this and Poor Things, the original 30s movie, and bits and pieces of the Kenneth Branagh one from the 90s. So, admittedly, not all of them, but a fair number of them.
Yeah, I don't think it's. I mean, it's tough to watch all of them. I mean, there's many, many, many probably Frankenstein adaptations that we've had over the years there.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, do you also want to count Creature Commandos? That's kind of like Frankenstein.
You know what? Sure, sure.
Count that
Why
one.
not? Why not?
But yeah, I don't think I've seen many of it. And this was my first time watching Young Frankenstein there. I've seen some other Mel Brooks movies there, so I'm somewhat familiar with his comedy because I've seen History of the World Part One. I've seen Spaceballs there. I've seen Blazing Saddles. To me, I think the pinnacle of his work, if people want to say, hey, maybe one definitive things, I think either people would go with Blazing Saddles or maybe The Producers. What would you say?
Oh boy. It's like a coin flip between this Young Frankenstein and Blazing Saddles, just because Blazing Saddles has the benefit of being so controversial and risque for the day that it was made. And this one just really nails just the very specific spoofing style that, would go on to be further developed later on. But it's a boy, this is a real Sophie's choice about which is the definitive Mel Brooks movie between these two things.
Yeah, and Blazing Saddles was the movie that everybody says that you can't make this movie today. I mean, that's always the number one movie there that people talk about, in reference to that. But there's a lot of great bits here in Blazing Saddles there, and very much a kind of a spoof and look at westerns there, which I thought was really great there. With that uh,
Mhm.
fantastic film there, if nobody's ever seen it. Um, yeah, and I think he also keeps it at a good a pace there with these movies. Like they don't, overstay their welcome. This is a nice hour and 45 minutes there with this movie. And it seems like he does a lot of research into his movies, just like with Blazing Saddles being a Western. He does a lot of that with Young Frankenstein, like you said, capturing that period, getting what makes these movies kind of great there. And I think that's great attention to detail, which adds a lot to the comedy on top of the writing, on top of the performances as well.
Right,
Um,
and what I appreciated most about the jokes is I said this earlier, but the thing I appreciate most about the jokes is just the fact that it's not just overly specific. There's a lot of I mean, there's jokes about the scenario they're in and, the whole when the monster comes alive, played by, Peter Boyle, but at the same time, most of the jokes are just character interplay and very funny character and wordplay together, and I really appreciate just how much effort was made to make the jokes not just a one trick pony.
mm. And like veteran comedian people you've probably seen, if you haven't seen this movie and other things, Madeline Kahn in this, who initially plays the wife or girlfriend there of Frederick Frankenstein there. Madeline Kahn, who plays that, and Elizabeth is her character. She was also in Blazing Saddles, I mentioned before, and she was in Clue. People, yeah, remember her character from that as well, which is another classic kind of comedy there. And she adds a lot to every role she's in, and even though she's not in this movie a whole lot, she's in it at the beginning and then at the end. She still injects a lot of great stuff there. What'd you think about her in it?
Oh, I thought she was very funny. You are right that she's not in it a ton, but she does a really good job of making her character funny and enjoyable, even though she has very limited screen time. The other female character that I was super impressed with was Terry Carr, who plays the lab assistant that Igor hires for Victor Frankenstein when he comes to Transylvania. She does a great job with there's a bit with a revolving bookcase that has a lot of great physical comedy that Terry Carr does very well in as well.
Mm. I got that scene right here. And she looks amazing in this movie as well. There, much like with the other female leads of this.
Right.
It seems louder over here. Hand me that candle, will you? Put the candle back.
out now. Take out the candle, and I'll block the bookcase with my body.
Now listen to me very carefully. Don't put the candle back. With all of your might, shove against the other side of the bookcase. Is that perfectly clear?
I think so.
Good girl.
Put the candle back.
I always love that. I always love bits with the revolving bookcase or like the hidden entrance to the lab or whatever. Just because it's like they never in all these movies they never explain what happens after you activate the hidden switch in the table or whatever. It's always funny to think about that.
Yeah, that is a good bit there. Yeah. Do you think there's any particular? I mean, you mentioned Igor there. You think he's probably the best person who stands out even amongst this kind of super talented cast there?
I think Igor and Peter Doyle, who plays the monster, really stand out to me. Igor, just because one, I like characters that are sort of like I'm over this shit, and I don't need to. I'm kind of just here for the paycheck at this point. And Peter Boyle, he's just very funny with his sort of caveman guttural noises that he makes, and not to spoil anything, but there's a bit towards the end with him and Frankenstein trying to demonstrate how well the science has progressed. That is legit one of the funniest scenes of like any spoof movie I've ever seen, and he just does a terrific job with it.
Yeah, and this is this scene right here.
Yes.
Fashion sits. Different types who wear a day coat, pants with stripes, or cutaway coat, perfect fits.
Still hasn't figured out the speaking too well there with this. And Peter Doyle, people I know, he was the dad from Everybody Loves Raymond. He was in that.
Yeah. That was the first thing I'd ever seen him in, was in Everyone Loves Raymond. And then to hear when I was a teenager, like, oh wait, he was in a Mel Brooks movie? What? That's
Yeah.
surprising.
And there's some good, physical bits with him. We barely, mentioned the monster there, Frankenstein's monster. And even like again, I'd say it's a pretty good cast in there because he's kind of got the forehead. He definitely got the Frankenstein type forehead there, for a guy like that, and like definitely has that look to him. So,
Right.
also spot on cast in there, I would say. Um, but there's like some good bits with him. There's one where he breaks out of the lab and then he goes into the village. And then he meets a guy who gives him some soup there, and the guy's constantly pouring the soup on him. I think is really good there. That's a funny bit. So yeah, that's really awesome there. Yeah, I mean the standouts, Igor there or Igor. Uh, mm, I think he does an amazing job. I think even amongst everybody else, he's really a great standout here, and he has like a really great moments in this of just what he says. There's a great moment where you have Gene Wilder who's yelling his name for him to come down, and then he just appears right next to him. I think that's kind of a funny bit there when they're about to do the experiment and have the lightning come down to animate Frankenstein's monster there. I think that's really great. Can you think of any issues you had with this movie at all?
Honestly, no. I mean, it's, for the kind of movie it's trying to be, which is, a spoof movie of a horror, of like a type of horror film, it's basically perfect for what it's trying to do. So, honestly, no, I got no issues with this.
What will be your final thoughts rating for it?
Final thoughts is this is a comedy classic and it is rightfully remembered as one. It's still hilarious today. And I think anyone who appreciates comedy of any kind, even if you have no frame of reference for the Universal monsters or anything like that, anyone who appreciates comedy will love this movie. And it's one of Mel Brooks's best movies. It's one of the best comedies of the decade it came out in, and it is peak cinema for sure. This is just perfect comedy filmmaking on every level.
Mm. So will be your rating there?
This a this is cinema
This
because it's just perfect at everything it tries to do.
wow, this is cinema. Hard to top that. Yeah, I give it a strong peak myself. They're bordering on This Is Cinema. Yeah, amazing story there. Another classic film from Mel Brooks there to see. I don't think it's as good as something like Blades and Saddles, which to me is my favorite Mel Brooks film there. But I think
Right.
having seen this and having seen his other movies, I think this is like second for me, but it's a close second. Um,
I think that's totally fair.
yeah, I just think that a lot of the gags I think work better, maybe for me in Blazing. There's just maybe slightly funnier there, which I think kind of work there with it. But yeah, this is a movie you can watch over and over again and find new things to laugh about it in, which I think is always a mark of a great comedy or just great film. Period. There, the writing is incredibly sharp here. The performances are incredibly sharp. Everybody plays their part excellently well. And yes, this is a movie if you can find it, or maybe just buy it on Blu-ray. I think you probably just be better off just buying it on Blu-ray and then searching online. And yeah, if you can buy it and find it there, uh, definitely
It
highly recommend it.
it is so weird how like some movies just are not easily available, even though they should. This is like one of the most famous comedies of all time, and yet it's not. It's not easily available on Amazon or Netflix or like any number of streaming services. It's very strange.
Yeah, even Tubi. I was expecting like, oh, maybe Tubi's gonna hold me down because Tubi usually has some like classic stuff on there. But no, that didn't even hold me down. So
Right.
Yeah. So you give it a This Is Cinema. I give it a high peak there for Young Frankenstein. Frankenstein there. Uh,
Yes.
awesome stuff.